this. It's a saying that goes around everywhere, and it wouldn't. I'd have to say FMP. Let me hold your beer.
Oh.
And Brent, that's not very nice. You calm down. See that in the chat.
And by the way, Brent's going to be joining us for third hour.
Awesome.
Because we were we didn't get Michael in. Our Keith is still sick, so we're actually going to pull Brent in for third hour, and we're going to talk more about the paranormal along with astral for the third hour.
But for a doubter, like. I'm trying to encompass what I actually do say when I talk to people, because I had to do that today about 4 times. Explain what FMP does to people. Well, especially to one cousin who is pretty much literally a rocket scientist. And I had to explain this to her in a way that didn't make it sound like tomfoolery. And it was very hard for me to do because I do have, at the same time, I can't tell them exactly what's happened in the chat because that's client confidentiality and we don't break that.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to use analogies, and the closest ones are from culture. Like popular culture.
Right.
That I can use. Like Richard went off with some great ones from history and from different time periods, but like as a regular Joe who doesn't study this, I don't have those to go off of usually. Do you know what I mean?
Now I think the closest you're going to get is remote viewing. And that's actually founded through the military when you look at documentation. And I'm not trying to cut you off. I want to use Richard while we've got him.
Yep.
And we'll get back to this. Richard, did you ever actually work with any remote viewers when you were actually you were Air Force, correct?
Yes. No, I didn't. What we did, like I said, is I was an analyst, and we were getting some information in. So it's very possible that some of it may have come in through the remote viewers. They, wouldn't specify where it came from, but I didn't actually work with them. What I was doing was after 9/11, we started to do a lot of information warfare. And what currently it appears that the government is doing is kind of they declassified all their remote viewing psychic stuff because it became a political liability in the 90s. So they just, everybody's kind of balking at this. Oh, this psychic stuff is kind of woo-woo, and, why are we dealing with this? And there were some congressmen saying that it's Satanism, so they kind of done it. But then, it was just sort of a PR nightmare. But after 2001, what it seems like they did is they took a lot of the same stuff and renamed it cognitive warfare. So it's like, cognitive warfare. They put it under their information warfare program. So the information warfare program right now in the military is this dumping ground of every weird, crazy stuff that, you can imagine. So it's like, well, we hack computers, we hack people's minds, all the same. So it seems like I said, as it's changed, I don't think they're doing traditional remote viewing, but they're doing some advanced stuff, especially connecting it into computers. So DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Program, is doing a lot of work with basically connecting the subconscious with computers and seeing how to apply that in an intelligence scenario. So a lot of it's heavily classified, it looks like, but that's probably where we're going right now is they're kind of putting it under the whole information warfare. So it's like they're kind of looking at the astral and the psychic as information. It's an information source. So
now I want to bring up, everyone individually has a different experience on the astral, and everyone's got their own skills, their own talents. Why is it that some can see and some can't? And go into how some when they go into astral see in color, some see in black and white. Do you have a good explanation for that?
I think a lot of it is just how you see the world in the physical world. In a lot of ways, reflects how you see it in the astral. So, if you're kind of very open-minded, you see things like I said with a lot of colors and bright and the best intentions. You're going to see that in the astral. So, and with training, you can improve this. So it's you may see things very limited when you first start working there, but through training, practice, and lots of experience, you start seeing much more things. I said, you may go in there and see some limited spirits, when you first doing training, then you start going into on operational missions, and it's like you're seeing a lot more. So it's you're just basically getting exposed to a lot more. So you'll see more, and you're expanding your visions, and you become more accepting of what you see. A lot of times we specifically just look at things, we filter information, and ideally with more experience and training, you're expanding your filters to let more come in.
Now, going to the media, and I already kind of brought up Stranger Things. Have you seen Stranger Things, the TV show on Netflix?
No, I haven't. I should check it out.
I think that's when they talk about the upside down, I kind of see a good analogy with that as being the astral, because they actually show the nasties, or the creatures we deal with in the upside down. Mm-hmm. And what are some movies that you can think of that are a good portrayal of astral?
Well, I think Doctor Strange was a very, very good example of that. Obviously it was a little over the top, but I think there was, very, very good work there. I have a teacher, martial arts teacher, who's worked with some Tibetan monks, and they do a lot of that work. So it's, so that's something, like I said, there's some reality in that. Like I said, is being able to work with that. I thought The Matrix in a lot of ways was very, very an excellent example, where it's like you've got parallel realities and people are living in one section of it based on, this is what you want to see and that's what you do. But, with training experience and, taking, I think, the red pill, you start seeing there's much more to our reality and you opening up to yourself. So I think The Matrix in a lot of ways was probably one of the best examples of it. Matrix 1, I was not too keen on the follow-ups.
But, and I also kind of see it the same concept as, and Megan described it. When you're going into astral combat, you kind of materialize the weapon of your choice, kind of like in The Matrix when he basically envisions this whole row of weapons that comes, in front of him. Would you say it's somewhat similar?
Exactly. So, we do that as one of our exercises, is that you actually go out and then you identify, we have you pick your weapon and actually suit up. So whatever you would wear, you would put together this entire outfit with whatever weapons you would do. And then we would have you go in a ring and fight a simulated attacker. So, it gets you into the whole mindset of, like I said, is in astral combat of, what it's really like. It's, you just clearly identify what you're going to do, and you can work different, techniques. There's no right and wrong. It's about testing things out in a safe manner. So it's like in martial arts, you do sparring, you spar, practice, and see what happens. Same thing, you can do astral, sparring before you go out and deal with some of the nasties.
Excellent. Now, real quick, what is the astral?
That's an excellent question. Depends on who you ask. The way I look at it is it's sort of a parallel reality that's maybe just slightly different from our physical reality. Some people would say it's something that we can access through our subconscious. Some people have argued it's a parallel universe. The way I look at it is, again, using the Matrix analogy, is it's an extension of our reality that's beyond what we can perceive with our five senses. So it's there, and we can work with it if we try.
Now, I want to bring a little bit of a different perspective to that, because that's an excellent definition. You're the instructor. I like hearing your definitions better than my own. But I also like to think of the astral like the fourth dimension. And I bring that up because cats, dogs, many animals actually see the fourth dimension, which is why your dogs follow the astral team around, someone's home, that kind of thing. So you're absolutely right. I would say it's you can be standing in somebody's home and they will not see you because they are in that alternate reality, which is why the team can actually, and we'll get into that in the final hour. We're going to talk a lot more astral and a lot more paranormal on the last hour. So I don't want to go into that a whole lot right now. But yes, the astral, to expound on that a little more, is I think it would be what you would consider the fourth dimension. Would you agree with that?
And yeah, that's exactly a great way to look at it. So it's something that's, we there, but it's not necessarily something we see with our senses. So yes, I think the fourth dimension is a great way to refer to it.
And you can't explain that to a scientist because a scientist won't grasp the fourth dimension. And they just don't. And that's why your rocket scientist cousin couldn't get it full.
Yeah.
But yeah, just say fourth dimension, and they'll either accept it or they won't. Let's see, Megan.
Yes.
You've been quiet over there. You probably got her muted. So
yeah.
So, have you had the experience of having people's animals follow you around yet?
Yes, I've had, cats. Cats follow, and then I went and I checked on a friend's house for her, and I didn't tell her I was coming in, but I told her that I could astral, and she kind of didn't believe me. And she texted me, and she was like,